Been a big year for the tech trade. The question now, whether 2026 will be just as robust. Deepwater's Gene Munster joins us now with his very own outlook for that space. It's good to have you. Welcome back.
Hi, Scott.
Let's talk about something in the here and now before we look ahead. That's Broadcom, which you do own. Deepwater does. After the bell today. So we, I think, failed the test yesterday with Oracle. What do we do today?
We stay the course, and not only because we're early in AI, but we're also early in custom silicon. And so that's the big picture, Scott. But some of the more specific data points to kind of be tracking going into tonight. The first is around customers, qualified versus potential customers. And a quick backstory here is in the April quarter, they talked about 3 qualified customers, 4 potential customers. And then in the July quarter, that went from 3 to 4. And more recently, they added OpenAI. So they're at 5 and 2 now. I'm going to talk about customer concentration here, but they're at 5 and 2. So I think one of the most important things that investors are going to be listening for is they're going to go to 6 qualified customers. Will they add Apple, Microsoft, Amazon? Will they have more potential customers on that list? And why that's so important is that this story is all about accelerating growth rate. That's what we've seen. We saw in the early part of the year when growth decelerated from the January to April quarter, stock down 33%, accelerates from April to where we are today, stock's up 160%. The expectations are that by the end of next year, that they will exit at a 50% growth rate. It'll be about 25% in the quarter they're reporting tonight. So, Scott, this customer piece is so important because as they add customers, and they're all big customers, that can have a meaningful impact on that accelerating growth rate. So that's one thing that will be very impactful. And then second, what's the guidance look like? They got to show that accelerating growth in the January quarter. Street's looking for in line for that. They need to bump it up by a couple percent to hit that threshold. But overall, I think they're going to talk about 1 extra customer within those potential customers. And I think that should be enough to keep the optimism around this story continue to move higher.
Okay. Does the optimism around the AI story in general continue to move those stocks higher into 26? Or is next year going to be the year of everything else? How do you see that?
I think next year it's about AI. I think that, you mentioned leading into this about our predictions, came out with our predictions. And one of them at the highest level is that the NASDAQ will be up more than 10% driven by AI. The NASDAQ's been hanging in there despite some of the challenges with AI. 4 of the Mag 7 are down 10% in the last month and a half. But I think that what we've seen since October 30th is this continuing concern from investors that we're 1 week, 1 month away from this all ending. I think that that's going to start to subside going into 2026. And ultimately, I think we're going to see kind of this rebound and optimism around the broader AI trade. And so I feel very good about that, especially look at that CapEx number, Scott. I think that's going to be one of the big drivers here in the back half of this year.